Hi, my name is Fadi Elsalameen. I am with the Palestinote. I'm here today with Malak Nimer, the president of the Social Support Society. Many people have been wondering of what happened to the Palestinian refugees who are living in Lebanon today, who is providing support for them, who is listening to their needs, who is caring for them. And it's rare that we meet such a person. Malak Nimer has been active in the refugee camps for the past 20 years, doing all various kinds of social work there. Hi, nice to meet you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Please tell us a little bit about your work.
I'll start with what I've been doing all these years. I've been on the board of Beit Atfal, which is the biggest NGO in the camps. We have centers in every single camp that are kindergartens during the week and become sort of like community centers over the weekend. And we have special activities for the teenagers, literacy programs for the mothers, dental clinics, mental health, summer camps, and several other activities. But what I've been doing on my own with support from friends is that I have started a center for the elderly in Burj al-Barajni camp 4 years ago. This is for these elderly, they either have no family at all, or the family they have don't ask after them. So we have created a home for them. Basically, what I wanted to do was for them to have something to look forward to when they wake up in the morning, and that's what we have accomplished. They've become friends. One goes into hospital, the others take care of her. They help with the cooking because we serve lunch, and we deliver lunch to those who are not able to come to the center. We have a literacy program. We have volunteer doctors that visit. Young people from other NGOs can come to interview the elderly because they're the last of the 1948 generation. We go on outings. They love to go out. And now recently a friend has started donating flour and oil every month regularly. So now we're baking our own bread, making menaish. So we might be in business very soon. And two years ago, I started the second center, exactly the same thing in Nahar Bared, after what happened there. So all in all, there's about 120 elderly that benefit from both centers.
Now, earlier you mentioned that you're also paying attention to Palestinian students.
Yes.
And could you tell us a little more about
Sure.
that?
There's 80 plus UNRWA schools in Lebanon. And the level of education has been going down. When I first moved to Beirut 30 years ago, the Palestinians had the highest level of education among the Arabs. And that's not the case anymore. And these 80 plus schools are overcrowded. They were double shift until this year. The standard of the teachers has gone down. And even the brightest lose hope by the time they reach baccalaureate. So, and on the other hand, there is a lot of scholarships that are available for Palestinian students from several sources. AUB has certain scholarships that are allocated to Palestinian students. There is the Palestine Student Fund, where all the big donors donate. And there is something called the Palestine Cultural Club that was founded by a particular Palestinian student who went to AUB on scholarship. So the alumni have been sending funds. And there is the UNRWA that has an endowment from the European Union. So now what we're doing is we're trying to centralize all these sources so that the kids would know exactly where to apply, because in most cases they don't even know where they can go, they don't know what's available. But the important thing is to make sure that the kids don't give up hope. So what we are going to start doing in January is several young Palestinians who are from the camps and have become very successful in their fields have volunteered their time. They're going to start going to the UNRWA schools and regularly see the students from the 9th grade on. Explain to them where they're coming from, where they have reached, how they did that, and to make sure that they understand that there are scholarships available, that we will guide them, and that if they do succeed, we will help them find jobs. So,
now, is it easy for Palestinian refugees to find jobs in Lebanon? Are they allowed?
No,
Is it a myth or is it a true thing?
It's true.
It is true. They are not allowed to work in Lebanon.
Yes, yes. I mean, you can't work as a driver.
You cannot.
No.
So how, psychologically, how can you build a balance between thinking for the future ahead and knowing that there's a block, that you are not accepted, you will not be able to get a job, even if you advance in terms of education, it's worthless. So how do you...
No, there's a way around that. If the employer wants to hire you, he gets you a work permit, as they would get a work permit for an American. And I'm not sure about the percentage, but I think every institution, 5% of their workforce can be foreigners. So you have Palestinians who work as bankers, you have Palestinians who work in IT companies, but one thing they cannot do is practice medicine, for example, because certain professions like medicine, engineering, architecture, you have to belong to the association of doctors, so you have to be registered.
Right.
So therefore you have Palestinian doctors who are graduates of universities in Russia, and that's where they used to go to the Soviet bloc, working for $200 in the UNRWA hospitals in the camps. So that's not the ideal profession to choose. But yet still, if you stop any little kid in the camp and ask them what you want to do, he says, I want to be a doctor. So this is one point, for example, where they need guidance. I mean, there's really not much point in becoming a doctor if you're going to go back and work for $200 in really very miserable hospitals.
Wow. Now, you've been at the refugee camps for 20 years, helping and doing all various kinds of social work. Can you tell the people who have never visited the camps, people who have no idea what goes on there, what can you tell those people? What do you think, how can they be helpful to your work? How can they be more active? How can they help change reality in those places?
First of all, they have to go and see them, because I cannot begin to describe to you the misery. Whatever I say is much worse than the worst you can imagine. Because it's not only the poverty and the misery, it's the hopelessness. Once an American who was visiting, he was in Beirut, who has a family foundation, and he was on his way back from Afghanistan at the point in time when you had thousands of refugees at the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan living in tents. And he's called Bobby Sagar. He's the kind of person who would go there and live with the refugees in the tents. And he was on his way back, passing through Beirut. So we went to Bosher Baraji camp, and the moment we walked in, he looked at me and he said, look, I have seen human misery much worse than this, poverty beyond this, but he said, I have never seen hopelessness to this extent. He said, I have a feeling, if I come in 10, 15 years, I will see the next generation of men sitting in front of these shops doing nothing, the blank look in their eyes. That's the problem, it's the hopelessness. And the isolation, and the fact that they know that they're not wanted. And that they're not it's like as if they don't exist. They're there, but they're not really there. I mean, nobody acknowledges the fact that they're there. They're there in limbo, but they've been there for 60 years. That's not the definition of a refugee, right? It's a temporarily displaced person. That's not 60 years. And it's not going anywhere.
Wow, very, very moving and very powerful.
Thank you.
Can you tell us maybe on a more hopeful note, a couple of success stories from the camp? People who have actually were born into these conditions but made a difference in their lives, and now they're trying to give back to their communities, trying to be an example and show that even if you are born in the most hopeless situation, you can still have a way out and you can succeed in life and give back.
Of course, there are all the alumni that I was referring to, the Palestine Cultural Club. This was founded by Salim Karoum, who was from a camp in Beirut, but he was bright and focused enough to realize that fighting is not the way. So, and brilliant enough to get a scholarship. He studied in AUB. He founded this Palestine Cultural Club, which is completely apolitical. And actually, I interviewed him when his first job interview. I was working in a bank, and he came and applied for a job. And now he's one of the highest-ranking managers in the bank. And he's one of those who is ready to go back and talk to these kids, tell them his story, to make them understand that it's doable. If you focus and if you put your mind to it, you can do it. And Husni Kofash, whom we just met,
right,
who is the
business manager of Google in Dubai. Yes.
That's another success story. He told us his family left Kuwait after the first Gulf War. He went to a school for refugees in Amman, graduated from university. He worked his way through university. He said he didn't speak English when he graduated,
right.
Self-taught himself English, and now he's the country manager in Dubai for Google.
That's quite an amazing story. And from what I understand is that you are now interested in not only serving in the elderly people through centers, but you're also focusing on children as well.
Yes, that's a new project. It's a very big project. I went to Nablus in March with Hani Basri, and after I saw the Tomorrow's Youth Center there, I decided that this is what I want to establish in Beirut, and came back, and this was all I would talk about. So my husband's family has a property that is 20 minutes outside Beirut, and I sort of pestered them into giving up this property. It's 24,000 square meters with a house, a pool, several smaller buildings, completely planted fruit trees, what have you. And we are now in the process of transforming this into a day center. We're going to bus the kids out of the camps. It's not going to be a structured educational program. It's not going to be school. It's not going to be kindergarten. The way it's going to work is every child in the camps goes to a nursery. So let's say on Monday, the children, 2 classes of the Beit Atfal nursery in Shatila, instead of going to their nursery, they will come to us, where they'll be able to do things that they would never even dream of doing in the camps. They will learn how to swim, they'll play football on a football field, they will plant, they will have art, music, IT classes, and they will also be able to integrate with Lebanese kids, because we're going to take Lebanese kids from underprivileged areas as well. And So this is what I'm working on now. So it's going to be like a haven for children. And the only thing that I don't want to take the responsibility of is transporting these kids there and back. So every NGO that we work with, they will be responsible for bringing the kids and taking them back. This will be the only thing that they will have to provide. We'll have activities for teenagers in the afternoons. We'll have programs with the mothers. We'll have summer camps. We're hoping to receive a lot of trainees from abroad, volunteers, visiting artists. For example, let's say a Turkish artist would volunteer 1 week to come, stay there, and teach them how to make ceramics, for example. So, yeah, this is what I'm working on.
This is very, very amazing. Honestly, because I come from Hebron, and knowing the fact that if you give someone hope early on in life, the possibilities are limitless. There's no shame in being born into poverty, as long as you are given the opportunity to make something out of your life. Thank you so much for doing this for Palestinian children in refugee camps in Lebanon. Malak, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.